Hello, welcome back to our course, Building Flutter App with Navigator 1. Today, we are going to see the difference between Navigator 1 and Navigator 2. Now, Flutter used the Navigator 1 since it was released in 2018. Up to the time when Flutter supports web, this is where change Navigator 1 to Navigator 2. Now let's go and see the difference between Navigator 1 and Navigator 2. I've prepared a summary of the difference here where I can show the difference between Navigator 1 and Navigator 2. Okay, Navigator 1 uses imperative style where Navigator 2 uses degradative style. In other ways, imperative style, the code flow instructs the framework to add or to remove the root from the stack. Where degradative style, someone will navigate to another page when state has been changed. So you can specify the code that become active based on the world state. Don't worry, I will come back to this point and I'll explain to you. Navigator 1 is not supporting in Flutter web. As I said, Flutter web was released after certain period of Flutter strong development. So this Navigator 1 does not support in Flutter web. But Navigator 2 supported in Flutter web. Navigator 1 uses navigator and root classes to navigate between pages. But Navigator 2 is backward compatible. It means that if your application was built with Navigator 1, you can gradually change or migrate to Navigator 2 without breaking any changes in your applications. It means that if you start to develop a Flutter application using Navigator 2, you can still use Navigator 1. Navigator 1 is good for simple navigation use case application. For instance, if you are building a very simple application like simple to-do app, you can still use Navigator 1. But if you are building a very complex application, for instance e-commerce, Navigator 1 may not be the right choice. You may have to opt Navigator 2, because in Navigator 2 there is a lot of improvement I've been doing which support e-commerce like applications. Navigator 1 use push and pop methods, Navigator method, to add and remove screens from the stack, while Navigator 2 uses a page property. Page property stack contains a list of widgets. Pages are listed and shown or removed based on the state of the contained widget. As the state of the widget, the one which is contained these pages, changes, that is how someone may navigate from one page to another page, and that is called the degradative way of navigating from one page to another. It's the same as a child will eat the food when the food is on a table. And for imperative style, someone has to set an alarm so as he can cook the food. It means that alarm instructing someone to cook. That is called the imperative way of performing a certain activity. But the degradative style or way is when a child eat the food when the food is on table. There's no one is telling the child to eat the food. There's no any instruction. But the child will eat the food when it's on the table. Now, the screen listed in the pages are shown or not based on the state rather than being told to show or not. Now, you understand the difference now between imperative way and the degradative way. Imperative way, which is using Navigator 1, you have to instruct the framework to show or not to show the screen. But in Navigator 2, which is different now, it's based on the state of the contained widget. So, according to a certain condition met, a certain action will happen. That is what is happening in Navigator 2. And another very key important between Navigator 1 and Navigator 2, Navigator 1 does not support deep linking, where Navigator 2 supports deep linking. And deep linking is an ability to jump into a specific place in your application from somewhere outside your application. I think you have ever seen if someone is sharing a link, let's say sharing a link, let's say in an Instagram post through your normal text. Now, if you're using smartphone, iOS or Android, and once you click that link from your SMS application, if there is that application, let's say Instagram application in your on your own phone, it will jump straight to that page, and that is called deep link, where preserving the list of the pages that will travel you to that page. For instance, if you are building e-commerce and there is a notification pop-up for, let's say, product X. Now, once you click that notification, deep link will allow you to go specifically to that page, product page, but will also preserve those pages that, or those screens that might send you to that page. In this case, I'm talking about a product list. So if there is a back button, once you go back, you'll go back to the product list. Okay, now that is called deep linking. So Navigator 1 does not support deep linking, but Navigator 2 support deep link. Now, as you can see, there is a many of advantage on Navigator 2 compared to Navigator 1, but while still using Navigator 1. Now, as I've just said, Navigator 2 is backward compatible, which means that you can still use Navigator 1, Navigator 2, and I hope this latest version of Flutter support Navigator 2. And Navigator 2, as I said, is compatible to Navigator 1. It means that if you are still in Navigator 2, you can still create Navigator. You can create application with Navigator 1. So for a beginner or for anyone who doesn't ever work with Flutter, I suppose him to start with Navigator 1 because it's a bit simpler compared to Navigator 2. There is a lot of concept in Navigator 2 you have to understand. So unless otherwise you are creating very complex application like e-commerce, I would rather advise you to use Navigator 2. But for the case of simple application, I would rather to tell you to use Navigator 1, and it's still applicable. And latest, you can still use Navigator 1. But all in all, in this course, I will show you how to use Navigator 1, and I plan to create a course in coming videos to so as you can see how to use Navigator 2 also. But for a beginner, Navigator 2 is a little bit intimidating, and it can be discouraging for you to learning Flutter. So I welcome you to learn Navigator 1, so as you can understand how to navigate between screen in Flutter using Navigator 1. Till that time when we see next video, bye bye.